Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Egld. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now, if you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now let's jump straight into the charts. So taking a look at Egld on the daily chart, we have the same Fibonacci retracement that I've had since the last update. As you can see, the swing low is in June this year, and the swing high is in August this year. And as you can see, we had a retracement from the high all the way back down to the golden ratio. Then we had a bounce all the way to the 0.236 resistance level, which was effectively a lower high. And from there, we started capitulating down, and we had this mini ABC corrective move to the downside. We're hoping to find our bottom relatively soon. Now, the 1.618 target of this Fibonacci retracement is going to be sitting at $26, which is the 1.618, like I said. And that is simply because we have lost the swing low at $38 that we printed in June. We just lost it here in December, and usually when that happens, you tend to retrace at least to the 1.618, and you still have the second Fibonacci retracement level as sort of a capitulation target in case you continue down, and you might even have a wick that goes below that. So setting some buy limit orders from $20 all the way up to $30. I think that would be a pretty smart thing to do because you never know when the Black Swan event is gonna creep up, because the government can come up with anything at any time, and we can get a lot of FUD thrown into the markets before this bear market is over. So you have to be ready for that, and having some spare cash on the side is always a smart thing to do. Now, something important to mention is that we're quite overextended from the 20 EMA, and we're quite overextended from the 55 EMA. When there's that gap in between the EMAs, that typically means that we're going to see some sort of a retracement. Now, a good example, just recently here in November, we saw this capitulation with the FTX crash because of that Sam Bankman-Fried guy who tried to, well, not tried, he effectively stole a bunch of money, and we had this capitulation here. And as you can see, the gap in between the price action and the 20 EMA was pretty significant. The same could be said about the gap in between the 20 EMA and the 55 EMA. Now, the 55 obviously is the red line here, and the yellow one is the 20. Now, once that happens, you typically see a little relief rally, and that's exactly what we got here from the end of November into the December 12th. And this relief rally ran into the 20 EMA, and we have another capitulation here. So potentially what's going to happen is we're going to see another relief rally, potentially taking us all the way up to this now resistance level at $40 here. We're going to back test that as resistance, and then we're going to come back down, because this is exactly what happened over here. So picture this. You have this level, right? Let me get a trend line so it looks nicer. Let's do that. Okay, so we have this low, right, that we printed in September, okay? And you have a bounce from this low, and you started channel up pattern. Obviously, you lost that in November. And look at this. You lose the low that you printed in September. You start coming up. You run into that resistance level, which is now a resistance, obviously, because you lost it as support. You have a bounce, and then you come back down. The exact same scenario is probably going to happen here, where you have this low, you saw a bounce, you had a retracement, you ran into the resistance level, obviously, and now you're coming back down. You lost another support level, and with the next retracement, you're probably going to see a relief rally into that resistance level, and then you're going to have another leg down, potentially taking us down even further than this low. That's a very real possibility. So this could be tradable, in my opinion, if you want to enter Elrond right now, whether for long-term or short-term. However, for short-term, I would be a bit more careful, but for long-term, these are great entry prices. Below $50 is very cheap for Elrond, and I do think it's going to perform pretty well in the next bull market. So above the 1.618, you still have two Fibonacci retracement levels. So $29.50, which is the 1.414, the red level there, and the 1.272 is sitting at $32.20. These are two levels you could be targeting, and obviously, as always, I tend to remind you guys to have the buy limit orders slightly above the support levels, just so that you have more chances of getting filled, because the price could reverse before reaching the support level, and you just want to increase those chances of you getting your coins, right? So that's just a little pro tip for you. But keep an eye on these EMAs here. You might see a bounce off of one of those, just like he did here in December at the beginning of the month, where you had the run into the 20 and then you drop back down. So if you're looking for a short-term trade on spot, obviously I don't do leverage, I only trade spot. So if you were to enter right now to the 20 EMA, that would be a 13% move to the upside, which is not a bad trade. And to the resistance level, that would be a 15.5% trade. Not bad as well. So that's something that we're targeting. Also, what we could do is we could add another Fibonacci retracement from the high that we printed here in December to the swing low that we printed here in November. And as you can see, we're below the 1.618 target, and currently the second fib level at $33.40 would be our capitulation target. So this is where I think we could bottom out for this particular move to the downside. Afterwards, we could see a retracement all the way up into the resistance trend line there, and then we can see another leg down. And afterwards, we can obviously set up another Fibonacci retracement from that local high to this local low, and so on and so forth. You get it how it works. Obviously, it's not that difficult. So we've got that out of the way. Let's jump into the daily RSI and see what's going on here. So obviously, you have the green support trend line that we've had retested multiple times, once in January this year, once in May, once in June, and we almost had another touch in November and almost another touch here in December. So usually when you are in this area, I would say that's a pretty good entry. We could even draw something like a support block here. So we could do something in this nature, right? We could do something like that. And whenever you reach that, typically you have a bounce to the upside. So anywhere below the index of 25 is extremely oversold. And I would say that's a pretty good buying opportunity, because historically, whenever you were in this area, you had at least some sort of a bounce to the upside. So short term, you could have made some money. Long term, obviously, you know where crypto is going. So it's a win-win either way. Now, I do want to switch over to the weekly chart on Binance. And before we continue, I quickly want to ask you, do you value your privacy? If the answer is yes, then you must take a look at ExpressVPN. ExpressVPN offers you the privacy that you deserve, no activity logs and no connection logs. Your internet provider won't be able to access anything, and anyone using the same open free Wi-Fi in the cafe as you won't be able to do any harm or breach your security. You can use the ExpressVPN application on any device. You can connect it to your PlayStation, or you can even connect it to your router so that anyone who connects is automatically secured. Or if you're looking to access any region-blocked content on your streaming platform, well, ExpressVPN can do that as well. If you're living in the Netherlands and you want to access a TV show that's only available in Japan, well, my friend, you can do that with ExpressVPN. You can use the link down below in the description and get a discounted price along with 3 extra months for free. You can get your money back if you don't like it, but I don't see any reason why you wouldn't like it, because we all need the privacy, and in today's age especially. And you can also pay with Bitcoin, so that's a really cool feature as well. And let's get on with the video. Taking a look at the weekly on Binance, as you can see, we are in the support block that I showed you in the last video. As you can see, anywhere from $45 to $35, we have a support zone that was created all the way back in January 2021. We retested that support block in June earlier this year. Then we had another bounce from that block in September, and then we had a move all the way down into it, and now we're actually at the very bottom of the support block. Now, if that support block is to be lost, then the next area that I would be targeting is anywhere from $20.56 all the way up to $30. So potentially this could be the bottom here for Elrond. Hopefully somewhere in this area we're gonna see a sideways channel consolidation before we eventually start breaking to the upside. Obviously, if Bitcoin starts dropping even below $10,000, which is highly unlikely, but you should be ready for all scenarios. If that happens, obviously Elrond can see a massive drop all the way down into the next support block and trading range that it has created. I think this is going to be the end of 2020, right? So I would say this area is the next support block. So $10 all the way down to $7.50, because you don't really have a lot of support here. You basically had a very strong impulsive move to the upside and not a lot of support holding us here. This would be the trading range where I would like Elrond to be stabilized in. However, if we were to lose that, like I said, I do think we're going to go down to $10. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens with the markets. Very exciting times. We're losing the support level here on the weekly RSI, as you can see. So we are about to go lower. Now, there is obviously another support trend line that we could target, which is the support that we have over here. Let me get that. Okay, so as you can see, we do have another support trend line. Let me change the color of that. So we just lost 34 on the RSI. Our next support is at 32.4. And the next support after that would be the low that we created, I think, back in June. Let me just double check. Yes, so the June low is something that we could target. The June low number 2 is something that we could target as well. And we are very close to that. So this is potentially where we bottom out for this particular move. And yeah, I think these are great entries for Elrond. Obviously, if we see strong relief rallies, you could always target the upper resistance trend line, because we've had multiple resistance touches off of that trend line. And once we break that, I think that's going to be a major signal that we are flipping bullish for Egld. Now, that is pretty much everything that I wanted to cover in this video. All the other indicators are really pointing for a buy. The stochastic is in the oversold, and the MACD is about to give us that confirmation of the downtrend. But it's a lagging indicator, so obviously the downtrend has to start first, and then a week later we're going to get the confirmation. And usually once we get the confirmation, we get a pretty strong follow-up, just like we did here in December of 2021, which is the last time we got a bearish cross on the MACD, and look where that got us, right? We had the bearish cross somewhere here. And since that bearish cross, we're down 86%. So if we were to see something like that happen once again, we could obviously go down to the last support block that we have here. But in all honesty, I don't think we're going to be going to $10 unless Bitcoin wants to drop back down below $10,000 per Bitcoin. So yeah, that's what I think. If I missed out anything important on the charts, please let me know down below in the comments section. Feel free to follow me on Twitter. Feel free to check out my Patreon for exclusive podcasts, low cap gems, my buy alerts, and if you want to leave any requests, then you can do that as well on Patreon. So thank you all for watching. I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye and good night.